So lastly, one thing I want to mention about imports and the top level is that in Python you have something called a main scope. And what main scope means is that in Python you can determine what you want to execute or what should be executed in a given scope. And main is the name of the scope in which the top level code executes. So a module name is set to equal to main if it's read from a script or an interactive prompt. And the module can also know if it is running in the main scope. So you can always check this property or this variable called underscore underscore name underscore underscore. So this one actually gives you the name of the scope. And if the name of the scope is main, then that means that it is the main scope that is actually being executed right now, or the code is executing in the main scope. And so what is the reason for this, or what can we actually learn from this? So let's just look at some code now. So we have a function that we define as myfunc, and it basically stores a value in a variable and prints it out and returns the variable, right? It returns the value. And then it prints out some text, and then it checks if name is set to main. Basically, if it's the main scope, then we will execute myfunc. So what I want to try now is that I want to check. I have another function. I have another file where I actually import this function, right? And I execute it. So let's just see what happens, right? So let's just try to run this file now. And we see that it actually runs everything. So it runs the print, because that's what's happening first, right? And then it actually checks the scope, and it knows that yes, this is the main scope, and therefore it will execute this function, right? But what is good to know here is that with the help of the scope, or using the name scope or the name variable that you see here, we can actually conditionally execute code. So we can say that we will execute code in the condition, so based on a condition. So we can say that, for example, we don't want to execute code. So for example, if I make an import, then this code will not be executed because it's no longer the main scope, right? So let me just prove that. So I will open up a Python session, so to say. So now we see here I have a Python session, and if I say import main scope, then you will see that it only runs the print, but it doesn't run the main. So I actually want to print out this, and this is just out of curiosity. I want to see what is actually happening. So maybe I don't know if I need to close it and open it again. Not sure, to be honest. Main scope. Yes. So what we see now is that it first prints out this is a module, and then it prints out the name of the scope, which is in this case the name of the file, which is main scope. So this gives us, or we learn from this, that we can actually conditionally control the execution when we run things. Many times you might want to run the whole module, and many times you might not want to run everything in a file. For example, if could be many reasons why you don't want to execute everything, right? So it's good to know that this is a convenient tool in Python where you can control the execution of code.